Welcome, you have reached review time with Imperial, and today's review will be House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 3. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Let's get into it. So this video, this past episode wasn't too much to it. Just a filler episode, and as I've been stating, it's not much to the war. They will drag it out for dramatic effects and build things up, but it's not too much to it. We just watching it play out. And the episode starts off with two families that been long having war with each other, but now with the big war come, that's just in heightening their ongoing war. I can't think of what the two family names is, but you see the younger ones are, of course, they're basing their dislike for each other based upon how they was raised, and then it's saying whose side they take in, the green or the black. So it showed them having words with one another, and then it showed they actually warred with each other, and one of the young men who was talking in the scene before, he had a knife through his throat. So it just showed their ongoing war that they have, and now this big war is going to make them fight even more, depending on whose side they on. So then from there, the next scene, it goes to Sir Eric, the twins. They getting buried together, and Rhaenyra is looking over the bodies. Rhaenyra comes and she's having a conversation with Rhaenyra, basically saying, basically in a sense saying there's no right or wrong between the two because you did some stuff, they did some stuff, and so when Rhaenyra brought up when they talked about the baby that was killed, even though she didn't put that out there, she brought it up. Rhaenyra brought up her son Lucerys getting killed by Aemon. So on top of that, you had Rhaenyra bring up when Lucerys took Aemon's eye when they was little, and they teased them for it. So it was a lot of back and forth, and so at the end, Rhaenyra basically said they took my throne, my rights to the throne, by lying. So Rhaenyra pretty much was telling Rhaenyra, listen, this could end. You need to speak with Alicent Hightower. And she's like, she took my, basically she's part of me losing my throne. And she pretty much said, it could be a chance that she doesn't really want war. She wants this to end. You need to go see if it can end before it gets started. So pretty much Rhaenyra stood on her square, basically saying, no, the war's already set. She took my place. Now, the next step goes to Sir Criston Cole, his basically looking like his first day as being a hand to the king. Now, they had to hire new soldiers and knights to protect the king. And when Sir Criston Cole came down, they were just sitting down looking at him, lounging, and then they thought like, yeah, he is supposed to be who he is, so we got to stand up. Now, with Sir Criston Cole, he's the hand now, and a council, you instantly see, and this is right off the books, you instantly see he's like a war general. He's not for the politics of war and things that goes on, the decisions that need to be made. So same thing where you look at in government, you have politicians and you have war generals. Most of the time the war generals, they strictly war, they the best at that, fighting and stuff like that. You don't too much see them cross over and be politicians and stuff like that. Sometimes you do, but majority of the time they stay in their lane. So this is what you're seeing where Sir Criston Cole is just war let's go to war. So he's feeding King Aegon the second. He's feeding him, all right, let's just go out and get revenge, but it's not no real true strategy with it, with from the political side, you know. So Alicent is trying to give her endpoint like her father taught her. However, what's taking place is she's overridden by King Aegon II, which is her son, and Sir Criston Cole with his love for war. They just want to go in, strike first, and do everything like that. Not knowing, like, well, they do know the other side has dragons and majority of dragons. So Aemon was pretty much saying, I need to go and join. And they pretty much, Sir Criston Cole was saying, no, Aemon, you got the biggest dragon. You need to stay behind and protect King's Landing. Aemon wants war. He want to fight. So King Aegon II, he's not a real fighter, but he's gung-ho. Like, I got to show the people I can get down too. So he like, I'm going to take my dragon and I'm going to go with y'all to go fight. And then they was like, nah, you don't need to do that because you're the king. So you need to stay back and let Aemon go. So at the end, they kind of, at the end of the conversation, they kind of spoke to, okay, let Aemon go and the king stay behind. But the king, throughout the episode, it shows him again. He wants to be part of the war, and he gets suited up. And then the more and more people talk about the war, he's trying to show he's tough and show that he's really want to go. But then, you know, you can see he's scared out his wits or whatever. But it's playing out just like how the story is with the book, where you see that what happens to King Aegon or whatever. And so it goes back to Dragonstone. Rhaenyra meets with Malaria and thanked her pretty much for setting alarms off on seeing the twin Sir Ark and alerting everybody that he was there. The twin was there. So her and Malaria and Malaria, whatever her name is, and Rhaenyra had their back and forth conversation. Basically, like, you could have left, but you didn't. So, which they talked about basically what each other's value is to each other. And Malaria basically said she knows things about King's Landing and stuff that others don't know. Like, she knows there's times when Alicent goes off to certain places by herself. So that's where Rhaenyra is going to look at where she can meet up. Her thing is to sneak in the King's Landing unannounced and unseen and meet with Alicent to have a one-on-one. So what took place is, we all know from Game of Thrones that there are secret passages through the King's Landing. And so it basically shows that we know from Game of Thrones that you could come from a boat and go to that secret underpass area to get into King's Landing that many people don't know about. And that's basically what they use to get Rhaenyra in. We also seen that's where at the end of Game of Thrones, I think I forgot who at the end was trying to escape through there. They kind of got killed before they, or whatever, something like that. So I forgot around that time when the Mountain and them was fighting towards the end. Arya, I think, one of them had, that's how they got escaped though. So nevertheless, back at Dragonstone, we know they're the twins, Bella, and the twins of Prince Daemon. He has two twins. Of course, we know their mom passed away at birth last season. And so one of the twins, remember, we had already had a dragon. And the other twin didn't. So they're very split, these twins. Now, I hope they don't, in the book, it didn't really, I don't recall them showing that the twins went to war or whatever. They didn't really have too much of their story in the book. They pretty much end up become great wives to kings and stuff like that. But they didn't really have uh, too much of a storyline. The way they kind of spinning it on this one, they're going to split. Rhaenyra wants one twin to stay behind because she has a dragon, stay behind to fight war. Um, However, the other twin, she wants to send them off to somewhere that's not going to be part of any war, or nobody's going to look to them for war. And so Rhaenyra is going to send her kids and the other twin that doesn't have a dragon to that kingdom and allow her to raise her children if she doesn't make it. So it's planning out like the book, but a little spin to it. So then it shows next, Prince Daemon shows off the hella Halaran town. This kingdom. Larys the Strong, which is the guy with the club foot that's at King's Landing. He took over a kingdom where he should have been there as the ruler, but he didn't. Of course, he's at King's Landing mixing it up, and of course he's trying to be like he is not trying to be. He's like Littlefinger, and basically he could be the hand to the king. And so when Prince Daemon showed up at his kingdom, you don't see anybody there. He basically just took over their whole kingdom. He's ready to fight whoever. But as soon as he showed up, there wasn't really nobody to fight. And they pretty much bowed to Prince Daemon and told him, they basically worship him. They don't want no fight, and he could take over. So that was pretty much his episode. It was somebody that foreshadowed and said to him, "You're gonna die here." So we're gonna see when the big war pop off and Prince Daemon's last battle. Does it show him come back here and die? But in the book, you really don't know. You just assume he did, but they don't really, like, no body was recovered or anything like that. So we're gonna see how it plays out on screen. Then from there, that's like I said, it's not too much with this episode. And so then you had back to Sir Kristen Cole, Hillman, and Alicent's brother showed up. King Hightower's son showed up with his guys ready for war. And really, he pretty much is taking over. Well, not taking over. He got conflict with Sir Kristen Cole. Now, keep in mind, Sir Kristen Cole is war ready and tested. And Alicent's brother is basically like, he ain't really been in no serious war. He's been in trained, but not like how Sir Kristen Cole is. But so he coming in thinking he's a big shot. So Kristen Cole is like, nah, we shouldn't do certain things. He wants his opinion on how things should do. So you could see right away from the conflict. Now, when they're off, basically going to do recon and going to set out for war, they, in about 7 or 8 men, are head of the pack. So they're looking at the best way to go strategize. And what happens is Belle, the twin that has the dragon, goes and she's doing recon and sees who she can see. Now, she's been told not to start no war, no fight, no getting no conflict or whatever. And so while Sir Kristen Cole and them were out in the open, one of them looked off in the skies and they could see movement. And of course, it's Belle with her dragon. She noticed them, so she swoops down. So you're thinking, well, she's going to let loose and let fire to them. But she was told not to make conflict, just see what's going on out there. So she had to get low enough to see who was there, and she did. And what they did, they ran in the forest, in the woods. So she couldn't see over them because too much trees and everything. She ended up leaving. She ended up coming back to Rhaenyra, telling her Sir Kristen Cole was part of that. And then Rhaenyra was shocked. She's like, how could you tell? She basically told her I was low enough. I didn't make contact, but I was low enough to see them. They don't want her to get knocked off the dragon, taken into kidnap or whatever. So that took place. There's two sisters, of course, when they departed each other, they cried and basically said, say their goodbyes. I wonder, are they going to make one of them die, like the one named Belle is going to die. So it shows Alicent with her daughter, and her daughter pretty much told her she forgives her, and she's always weirded out. We already spoke about King Aegon II, him getting in the King that Conquers suit, armor suit, looking goofy. He not really no war tested. He'd go out there and get dropped. So what happens? Rhaenyra sneaks into King's Landing. While Alicent is at her prayer with the candles, she pretty much Rhaenyra goes speak to her now. Rhaenyra has a knife, and in this knife, she could kill Alicent or whatever. But of course, they grew up friends, so she came to talk peace to Alicent, and they basically talked about each other's, childhood, and did, her taking over her right to the throne. Alicent basically said, yeah, but your dad switched and chose Aegon in the end. Your dad chose Aegon in the end. And when he did that, she spoke of the Ice of Dragon or whatever. Fire and Ice story. And then Rhaenyra, like, he told you that? And Alicent was basically lying. So when she was lying, Rhaenyra was pretty much like, yo, Alicent will lie to get her son on the throne to secure the High Tower's future. So that was that for that scene in the war. And then Alicent basically stormed off. And now she could scream for the guards and to tell. She could have screamed for the guards to tell Rhaenyra was there, but she didn't. So it was just basically a farewell to two once friends in that matter. And then that was the bulk of the episode. I mean, it wasn't too much after that. Some fillers. Basically, everybody's preparing for war. How they going to strategize for war on both sides. You had Prince Daemon hallucinating, seeing a young Rhaenyra, and the young Rhaenyra was sewing the head of the body that was the son that was killed of King Aegon II or whatever. So it showed them, that was just a hallucination he had. And it ended pretty much with the scene I just spread with Alicent and Rhaenyra. So like I said, a filler episode. There ain't too much to the war. It's going to be some good action scenes with the war, with the dragons and everything like that. But other than that, that's it. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Till next time.